What's going on, guys? 360 Digital Closing Bell here. We are live on YouTube for an undisclosed location here in Denver, Colorado. As always, I am your humble correspondent, Michael Tanner, joined as always by the executive producer of the show, the purveyor of the show, and the director and publisher of the world's greatest website, oilandgas360.com, Stuart Turley. Stu, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Michael. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Beautiful day. It is a nice Tuesday, June 20th. Good day for the markets today. I mean, we've seen the biggest increase we have all day. I've got some great stories to cover in my one big thing. Stu has some very interesting news today. But first, if you're not subscribed to the 360 Digital Closing, iTunes, Spotify, Intercom's YouTube channel, please stop the show. Do that right now. The best place for all of your energy markets. And like I mentioned, biggest increase today, probably in the past 6-7 days, we saw SPY finish in 31.24. 1.9% increase, all indexes rising, including the dollar strength. And U.S. retail sales came in today, highest percentage increase on record. Now, I know, obviously, we were coming off record lows from coronavirus, but that spurred a lot of this information. Tech stocks actually lagged the way, 99.16 or about 140-point gain. It's about 1.5% on the index there. Dow Jones, 26,290. That's a 500-point gain or about 2 percentage points on that. But the big winner today was crude oil at 38.08 or about a 2.5% increase, about $1 on that index. Back into for crude oil, 40.13 or about 1.3%. Again, just coming off some really good API numbers that are about to drop here. Some of the reports on these new API numbers coming out are going to be fascinating. Natural gas, front end of the curve, $1.62, continue to tumble about 2.9 percentage points or about 5 cents off that index. Back end of the curve holds up pretty steady though, $2.79 or only about a quarter percentage point. So as you can see that back end, or as we move into next year, they do see some sort of a recovery here. XOP, which is our E&P securities contract, highest mover in the S&P 500 today at 2.77% increase, all the way up to 60.18. OIH, which are oilfield services contract, $136.98. That's a 1.7% increase. Like I mentioned, 2.77 on the XOP index. And when we look at the downside, we saw Lone Star Resources down about 7 percentage points, 81 cents. Goodrich Petroleum down 8.9 percentage points to $7.25. And our biggest downside on the day, Chesapeake Energy Corporation down 18 percentage points to 15.13. Please, guys, if you have not checked out theoilandgasconference.com, I highly recommend doing that. It is the best place for all of your up-to-date investor conference information. And we have an Intercom as a great event coming up in August 17th through the 19th. It's going to be a digital investor conference where you're going to see a host of different companies presenting on everything that's going on. And it's going to be a wild conference because we just have one of the most unprecedented events and an insane collapse. It's going to be very interesting. And I can't wait for that event to see how all these executives talk about how they're navigating and all the different strategies we see. So if you want in on that, please, theoilandgasconference.com for how to register. Stu, what's going on in the international news desk today?
Well, hey, Michael, thank you. The national oil company, let's see, Saudi Aramco purchased 2.1 billion shares of SABIC, the Saudi chemicals giant. Holy cow. What's a few billion between friends?
No, is that why you put the tie on today?
You bet. No, we got other interviews going on, man.
I love it. But no, you look good today, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. But yeah, Saudi Aramco, you want to talk about a company that still has capital to spend, regardless of what the oil price is. They've got cash to spend. If you follow the 360 Digital Closing Bell, I'm as humble as they come, and I hate proclaiming when I'm right. But if you listen to the show on Monday, our big theme for this week was bankruptcies, and I hate to be right, but we were right. Bankruptcies have been both the lead stories. Chesapeake Energy comes out this morning and all but confirmed that they are going to declare bankruptcy. They are close to financing about $900 million in liquidity that's going to help them sustain their operations through a Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Two sources close to Chesapeake said, who obviously spoke up in anonymity due to the sensitive nature of these things. We also learned that they're attempting to roll up some of their existing debt as part of that bankruptcy loan, which is going to bring their what's called a debtor in possession financing that allows you to get some cash while you work your way through Chapter 11 restructuring. It's going to move that number closer to $2 billion, and they're hoping to restructure that $9 billion in debt they have sitting there. If you're wondering, Franklin Mountain Franklin Resources, which is one of the largest mutual funds, and they do a lot of investment retirement funds. So it was kind of funny. All these Robinhood traders who were trying to buy shares of Chesapeake thinking they were gonna, these 12-year-olds on Robinhood thinking they were gonna get a slice of Chesapeake. Well, joke's on you. Your grandma now actually owns Chesapeake. So I found that very funny. The cycle of how that works. So bankruptcy's been a big theme. It's going to continue to be a big theme moving forward. Two other things that quickly crossed my desk. First, good news on the supply front for Alaska. ConocoPhillips announced that about noon today, they're going to turn on 100,000 barrels starting July, looks like. Exactly. Yep. So that's got 100,000 barrels they're turning on right now, which is really good. If you work in the Alaska oil business and oil shuts down, it's tough to say, let's move to another basin. It's all you got for a long while. So good for our friends up in Alaska. Local here to Colorado, tisk, PDC Energy just got not accused, they pled guilty and to not having permits to drill and extracting federal minerals without paying mineral rights. DOJ slapped them with a guilty plea and a $688,000 fine. That's a decent chunk of change, especially in today's time period with cash. So unfortunately for them, we'll have to dive more into on. Quote coming out of the Inspector General Energy Investigations Unit. Ooh, that's interesting. The Office of the Inspector General's Energy Investigation Unit. That's a long title. That's what you know. You've got powers when your title's a whole sentence. But they reached this settlement, which is a direct result of the Department of Justice, Bureau of Land Management, and PDC all coming together. So they were really, they were fully cooperative, which is really good. And this period lasted from July 1st, 2013 to April 30th, 2019. So we're glad everything got resolved there. Stu, we missing anything else?
I don't think so. We got a lot of big interviews coming up, a lot of news.
We have a lot of great interviews coming up. I'd highly recommend checking out the 360 Energy Expert Network page on the world's greatest website, oilandgas360.com, where you can see all of the Energy 360 Network podcasts, which are available on all your major podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, and others. With that, I think we're just going to let you guys get back to work. Thank you for checking out the 360 Digital Closing Bell. We'll see you guys tomorrow.